Okay, I'll continue here. Um, I'll read back a little bit. For the New Testament, well, Injil is in total contradiction to the Quran, despite what the Quran says. They are like matter and antimatter. They totally destroy. They totally destroy each other when you try to believe both confirm each other and combine them. Complete annihilation. They contradict each other for the Injil gospel is all basically about Jesus and his work on the cross for those that believe that, and the Quran is basically all about working your way to what sounds like a slothful brothel in the sky with Jesus just being a failed prophet. The most Quran destroying weapon against the Quran is the very Quran itself, for the Quran says it's a confirmation reminder of that which are before it. In other words, the Quran is saying it's a confirmation of before scriptures, which is the Bible. The Quran even threatens Muslims with hell if they don't believe in all the books of Allah, which means they have to believe all of the Bible and to not and not just the Old Testament, Torah and Psalms, two books of the Quran mention two books the Quran mentions as previous scriptures written by Allah. Also, the Quran that calls itself the clear signs handed down says it confirms whatever scripture that went before it. Can you imagine saying something so incredibly stupid? Anyway, if interested, you can look at the file called the Injil and learn the scriptures from the Quran and sayings from the Hadith that back up what I'm saying in video form. You can see the scriptures that right now I don't quite. You can see the scriptures that right now I don't. Right now I don't quite have memorized into my head. Or you can check out other files if you find the whole thing boring. It just changed my life, is all. It doesn't have to change yours. As Daniel talked, Sally seemed oblivious to what he was saying as she checked out other files on Daniel's laptop. Sally asked, "Does your wife know that you have pictures of pretty girls in your laptop?" "Why? Make her insecure?" "No. However, if she asks, I'll let her know that I one time had a pretty girl in my truck, possibly sleeping in my truck after I came to her rescue. Um, those pictures of pretty girls have been there for quite a long time. I actually view them quite differently now than the time I downloaded them. The attitude change came about after studying that flash drive. It's gone beyond sexual with me with those girls in my picture, with those girls in picture form, is what I'm saying," said Daniel with a bit of a smile, thinking she probably wouldn't believe him if he went on. So I looked nervous and asked, "What do you mean?" Daniel threw up his hands and said, "Well, take it or leave it, but I'm a Christian now. A spiritual, religious element has been added to those pictures now. I now view those pretty girls like the same way I view you. Well, as well, art of God. Sure, the sexual feelings remain, and I know you may not believe this, but I now get a faith increase in God who says don't commit adultery because truly I don't see how you and the beauty of those girls could have come about by accident. Sure, we share a lot of DNA with apes, but come on. You are you, and an ape is an ape. And don't let it go too much to your head that your beauty increases my faith in God because, well, I get the same faith increase when going into a tropical fish store and seeing the designs and colors on those fish that are mind-bogglingly beautiful, especially the saltwater fish. That by the time I walk out of the fish store, I feel as though I might have visited, say, a holy place. So, yeah, you turn me on. "Like a fish now?" asked Sally, looking a bit confused. "Yeah, like a fish now. No, I'm kidding. Like a pretty fish, you and the girls in those pictures increase my faith in a creator God. I'm not sexually attracted to fish, but I see them like I see you and those girls as, again, art of God. So, yeah, so much so that my faith in a God who says don't commit adultery is increased even stronger. So, hey, you can keep that gun with you all you want, but truly you'll sleep well without having to worry you're in close proximity to with a married man who finds you hot looking. You are hot looking, but your hotness has increased my faith in the one who made you hot. Increase my faith in the one who says, thou shalt not. Okay, said Sally, softly, feeling kind of creeped out toward Daniel. Daniel then showed Sally other files in his laptop, files on tropical fish being one of them. That's a cowfish. When it's young, it looks like a little swimming crouton, being that its fins are transparent. Only God can come up with something as funny as that. Oh, and that's a batfish when it's young. Isn't that pretty? It's not, it may not raise libido, but man, look at the detail. Oh, and that's a fugu. It's deadly eating if not prepared right. See the sparkle in its eyes? Those are little tiny bubbles that develop naturally in its eyes to give it those sparkling eyes. It's so dang cute. Man, well, no wonder God made it poisonous to eat. I take it as God's way of saying don't eat it. Look at it. Well, I call this I call all of this art of God. The next file is birds, and and hey, you're still welcome to check out my bud collection up there where I used to keep Pikachu. No pictures of your wife? Asked Sally. Click on Seko. Sally did. There were hundreds of them. Pretty, isn't she? Asked Daniel. She's cute, said Sally. Are those your kids? Those are my girls. I'll probably never get a #1 son, but hey, I'm Japanese American and I love what God gives me. A few minutes later, Sally clicks on the file called the Injil, which was the file made from the flash drive. Any girls in the Injil? Asked Sally. Daniel started reaching into his pocket. He said, I don't remember. No, it's mostly videos of the guy named Christian Prince and Christian Prince 3. Christian Prince 3 is the handle the sub gave himself on the internet when he asked Muslims questions about Islam in video form. I've downloaded a few videos of myself asking Muslims about Islam onto that flash card, and they are now in that file here on the laptop. I burned them, and the Christian Prince 1 and 3 videos, I burned them and the Christian Prince 1 and 3 videos onto CDs that I end up placing into restrooms at stops and whatnot. I mean, if I'm not parked, excuse me, if I'm parked by an old abandoned house or building, I'll even place a couple of them in there. But speaking about girls, I've got to call mine now. You wouldn't believe how she worries about me holding out. You wouldn't believe how she worries about me being out here on the road. I never should have told her a week ago that one of my trucker friends got a ticket that has him having to pay 11 grand for following his GPS over a bridge that had a missing sign warning about weight limits. Turns out he was a few tons over with just one missing sign. And he's now screwed out of $11,000, which he managed to get down to $9,000. Big whoop. And he's a nice guy too. That's again what you call trucker's luck. Boy, I should have kept my mouth shut about that one. Since I became a trucker, she says white hair is coming in. If I didn't call her within the hour at this time of the night, did Mars, well, he calls Nevada Mars. Yeah. If I didn't call her within the hour at this time of the night in Mars, well, she would start thinking the worst. A couple of times I had to shut it down in places like Montana or Idaho, and there was no connection for my network. She suffered, and I suffered knowing that she was suffering with worry by thinking the worst, which unfortunately she does. Daniel tried to call his wife, but there was no network. Damn, said Daniel. She's going to be worried sick. There's just no tower out here for this phone. I sure hope and pray that she doesn't think I've crashed. She has nightmares that I end up falling asleep at the wheel or turning on a wrong road and end up getting a huge fine for putting us in debt. Oh well. I'll pray and maybe God will comfort her. Man, I usually call her by now. Oh well. Another few minutes later, and Sally clicked on one of the videos, one titled A Better Muslim Faith Tester. The sub, who called himself Christian Prince 3, was talking about how Muhammad said eating 7 ajwa dates in the morning will protect you all day from both magic and poison. And the sub wondered if there would be any Muslim with faith strong enough in Muhammad to test and see if what Muhammad said was true about eating the 7 ajwa dates. Is there any Muslim out there who will make a video for YouTube showing him eating cyanide after eating 7 ajwa dates in the morning to prove Mo wasn't a false prophet? He asked. So I then clicked on another video. This video was from the one that was called Christian Prince. Christian Prince was the first to own the flash drive that was now sewed up inside the Pikachu doll. The video of his that Sully clicked on was called The Doorway to Muslim Deception. It showed no face of Christian Prince, just his voice, and a cursor that moved about, and that moved about. Oh, see, that moved about on a Quran. That moved about on a Quran chapter and verse on the computer. Here, it was Christian Prince explaining the meaning of Quran 328 and how it opened up the doorway to something called al-taqiyya, which later explained showed holy lying. Yeah, holy lying. This disembodied the disembodied Arabic accented voice of Christian Prince showed how in Quran 328 a Muslim is cut off from Allah if he or she really actually takes Christians and Jews as friends and helpers, but isn't cut off from Muslims from Allah if the Muslim guards against Christians and Jews. In other words, the Muslim is forced into hypocrisy around those who aren't Muslim with Quran 328. I think I'll stop in here.